I'm back. And this time I'm back because of a question posted by Kira. Her question is about the affirmation, nothing is right or wrong, right? Nothing is going wrong. And her question is, if there is no right and wrong, what about when someone breaks the law? Or what about people who tell lies? Or what about one child biting their sibling? What about that? And first of all, Kira, I'm so happy that you posted this question because I have asked this question. Why does abuse happen? That was the start of my journey. The start of my journey was saying, why is abuse happening in my life? Why did my husband strangle me? And I had marks around my neck and on my wrists, and I had bruises all over, and I was trying to cover them up so that no one would see. Why did that happen to me? I was a good person. And all of my research was to answer this question. That's when I wrote the book, Why Me? Why do bad things happen to good people? And that's when I figured it out. I figured it out that there is no right or wrong in the universe, because the universe is just matching. What we call law of attraction is a matching mechanism, very much like a search engine such as Google. Similar things get matched up together, and that's all there is to it. So it's a matching mechanism. When you ask Google a question, Google does not classify your question as right or wrong. Anyone can Google anything. People can Google how to be kind and fair, and people can Google what is law of attraction, and people can also Google how to make a bomb, how to make a pistol with a 3D printer. So Google does not say, well, your question is wrong, I'm not going to answer that question. Google answers every question. Law of attraction does not evaluate whether you are right or wrong. It just puts like vibration together with like vibration. And so people make laws. You asked the question about someone breaking the law. Laws are made in order to prevent people from doing harm to other people. And my mother used to say, locks are meant for good people, because a lock will only prevent a good person from getting in. The thing is, you can make as many laws. What do we say about laws and rules? Rules are meant to be what? Broken. So the thing is, a law is not going to prevent people from doing what is natural to them. And natural to them is acting on the vibration that they are on based on the emotional scale. So, we say things like you can't get a zebra to change its stripes. So you can't get people to change what is their nature. And what is their nature depends on where they hang out, mostly on the emotional scale. People who are afraid, for the most part, afraid of being judged, afraid of making mistakes, afraid that people will see that they are really ugly inside, they live in fear. But they're the ones who are telling themselves that they are ugly inside. Then they live in fear and they hide. And they have something to prove. They have something to protect. They have something to defend. And they have something to hide. But when you become a lover, you love yourself and you love humanity, you go up the emotional scale. And when you are high on the emotional scale, you don't want to do harm to anyone. You don't want to break any laws because you love other people too much and you love yourself too much. So you will never do anything that hurts you or hurts another person when you're high on the emotional scale. So if somebody is breaking the law, that means they are low on the emotional scale. And if they are breaking the law and hurting someone else, the person who is being hurt is also low on the emotional scale. This was really hard for me to understand. But this was the reason why I suffered abuse, because I was always living in a place of fear of what would go wrong. Always. I was living in that place of fear. I wanted to hide myself. I didn't want anyone to see what was really inside me. Kira, I am so happy that you are here, because this is the answer to your question. And once I'm finished, go back and listen from the beginning. Or watch from the beginning. So I was living my life in fear. I was afraid of people finding out that I really wasn't anything, because I used to be told, oh, like there's nothing important about you. Don't let anything go to your head. Right? So I always thought that I am worthless. And then I had people finding fault with me. And of course, law of attraction is about self-perpetuation. If you think that way, then you will attract more people who will make you think like that, because they will prove you to be right. So good people who live their life in a place of fear like I did, attract abuse, attract abusers. And both the person being abused and the abuser, they are both on the same negative vibration. So this is why people lie, and people who are afraid of trusting people are the ones who get lied to, because law of attraction will prove whatever you believe to be right. So if you don't trust people, law of attraction will prove to you that you should never trust people. And because of that, you will attract into your life people who cannot be trusted. If one child bites another child, what does that mean? That means that both children are low on the emotional scale. Otherwise, it cannot happen. It defies law. So whenever something bad happens, everyone concerned is on the same vibration. And big events happen. People who were supposed to be on a plane that crashed didn't get on the plane. Instead, other people got on the plane. When 9/11 happened, people who were supposed to be there didn't go. People who were not supposed to be there ended up being there, because it was a convergence of people with the same vibration. And you can just imagine two massive corporate towers with people in the rat race. How much unhappiness do you think lived in those two towers? Can you just imagine how much unhappiness lived there? People who were looking at their watches every single day they went to work. They hated their jobs and went anyway. Yes? Well. And they were done. They didn't want any more of it. Right? So, the one thing from my own life experience, I used to cry. After I ran away from home, I was 2 months pregnant at that point in time. Kinza, my daughter, was born as a preemie. And all the way till she was born, and a good 6 months after she was born, I cried every single day. I cried every single day. And at the end of my cry, and I would revisit all the bad things that happened. And then in the end, I would ask God this question: why me? What did I do to deserve this? And I discovered that God is never unfair, because God has a system that is extremely unfair, that is extremely fair. God has a system that is exact and matches people up of same vibration with people of same vibration. In the case of two children, if one child was on a high vibration, they wouldn't be available to be bitten. They would not be in the same room. They would not be close enough to the child who is low on the emotional scale to allow that event to take place. Those things can only happen because both are in the same place. And a child who bites is at a place of revenge. They are at a place where they don't think they are being loved enough. And they are looking for love outside of themselves, because unfortunately they were sponges and they got trained to be conditional in their love. So in the situation of one child biting the other, or some action that one would deem wrong, how do you discipline the child who is doing the biting? You don't. You should never discipline them, because the only reason they are biting is because they are not feeling loved. So if you discipline them, then you are making them feel even more unloved. And if you make them feel even more unloved, you're not solving the problem, you're making the problem worse. So it's very difficult for a parent to do this, but the parent has to love both and not tell the other child that they are wrong, because they are just acting out from wherever they are on the emotional scale. And honestly, it's the parent who trained the child into that, because the parent made so much of themselves available to that child that the child started looking at them as the source of love instead of looking internally for their source of love. And I can tell you, 80, maybe even 90% of parenting is done that way. No, you just leave both of them alone and let them cry it out and return to a place where they understand that crying is not going to get them anywhere, because that way you teach both of them a lesson. You teach the one who did the biting that biting is not going to get them more love, and you teach the one who is being bitten that they have to manage their own emotional state, and it's not anyone else's job to protect them. So when that happens, walk away from the room and tell the two people concerned, the two children concerned, not my problem. And slowly, and I know that that's very difficult for a parent to do, but slowly those children will learn to manage their own emotional states and not make the parent responsible for doing so. All right, folks, I have to go now. I know that there's still one more question in the group by Kiana, and I'm hoping that we'll have time to address that question. Kiana, I will maybe address your question in the 365, right? And I really recommend all of you, honestly, I've seen what everyone is going through here, and I honestly feel that you would all benefit from continuing your journey in some way, shape, or form, either through the 365 group or through the Prison Break program, which is now open for registration. But you know where you are. Do you think you're ready? Are you going to go back to being the old you, or are you going to continue your journey to become who you know you can become? And I am here for all of you. It's not part of the deal here for me to jump in and answer these questions, but I truly want to help you. Truly. That's why I never leave any question unanswered. So anyway, I'm going to stop now. Love you all lots. Bye for now.